Hello and welcome to Real Life Talk with Frankinspire with yours truly, Frank Nyamdero, where we talk about everything and everything about life with the idea of seeking to change the narrative from the past to the present into the future of the things that we seek to have. On today's episode, we'll talk about the rocking disaster. I know for a fact when someone hears rocking and disaster, you have a question to yourself and say, how does rocking and disaster fit into one statement? So with rocking, it's something that keeps you moving, but at the same time keeps it in one place. And then a disaster is basically a calamity that we all have. So in this episode, we're going to talk about something that we said rocking disaster to say, most of our lives we have lived in the comfort zones. And we've always lived in the comfort zone in the era of saying, I'm content with where I am. Let me demystify something about contentment and a comfort zone. Being content with something, you are actually living within your means as a human being, but when you're living in a comfort zone, you're living in a space where you're not allowing yourself to go beyond your capacity. Most of the times we have always wanted to live in a space where we are comfortable. But do you understand about being comfortable and about being content? Being content with something is because you're okay with it. But it becomes a problem when you become too comfortable about being okay with something or being okay with a certain situation in your life. So let me make you understand that there's a thin line between a comfort zone and being content with something. A lot of times we always find ourselves in a comfort zone and we always stick being mediocre or being at the same space and being stagnant with our lives. So the dangers of a comfort zone is it stunts your growth as a human being. It doesn't give you anything outside what you can afford. So the red flags that are there when it comes to the comfort zone is you're always lying to yourself as a person to say, I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this stage that I am in with life. But do you understand that contentment and comfort zone are two different things? When you're comfortable in a certain space, you are always lying to yourself as a human being. Most of the times we are not willing to challenge ourselves as human beings to get away from the comfort zone where we are so comfortable with our lives, we are comfortable with our problems, we are comfortable with our situations, whether it is, let's talk about poverty, let's talk about just a mediocre kind of life that we have. You're comfortable with that thing because you're always thinking to yourself, I will not be able to get out of this. So being content with something and being comfortable with something are two different things. The danger about being in a comfort zone is literally to understand that you are always a mediocre person. You're always stagnant. So let me talk about something that I can give you as an example. As I spoke about the rocking disaster. Like we were growing up in our lives, we always had this kind of a setup of a couch, which was a rocking chair. What happened with the rocking chair is that it keeps you moving, but while you're stagnant at one place. That's the same thing with being in a comfort zone. You think you are moving as a person, but you are within the same space where you have been always. There are people that have remained in the same situation for basically over 10 years, over 5 years. They are still comfortable with whatever that they are facing in their lives. So there's nothing that you need to understand. You need to step out of your comfort zone as a human being. A lot of times we are not willing to challenge ourselves, even our potential, what we can achieve as human beings. Have you ever wondered if when God created you, did God create you to be a person to be always on the same space? When you're in the comfort zone, you stunt your growth. You don't grow anyway. Let's take, for example, if someone is comfortable as a grade 1 with grade 1 math, 1 plus 1 equals to 2. If you go to grade 2, they'll say, what I know is 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So which means their intellectual capacity or intellectual growth, it won't go anywhere because they're comfortable with 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So why don't you challenge yourselves with the math that is beyond your grade where you are, which means the reason why we've got education system that always gets from grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, even goes to A level, upper 6, even going to university. We are challenging ourselves to get out of our comfort zone. So you need to understand that everything about your life, you need to distinguish between being content and staying in your comfort zone as a human being. Challenge your capacity, challenge your potential as a human being. You are not meant to live a life of stagnancy, not meant to live a life of mediocrity. Most people live in mediocrity because they are afraid if they step out of the comfort zone, will they be able to achieve what they need to achieve in life? They've got the fear of saying, if I go out of this comfort zone, will I be able to still have the comfort that I have? If you see yourself comfortable enough to be in the space where you are. Let's talk about life, for example. Some people are comfortable living in one room, not because they don't have the resources. They can have the resources, but they're comfortable living in that one room apartment. But ask yourself as an individual, do you want to live your life in the same space, in the same routine again and again? And the problem with the rocking disaster now, you live in a cycle. So with happening the cycle, you live in the same cycle. For example, you come from point A to point B to point C to point A to point B to point C, and there's nothing more to talk about your life outside what you're comfortable with. Why can't you challenge yourself today as an individual to get out of your comfort zone and become a better version of yourself? Step out and step out of the excuses that you're giving yourself every day. Look around your life. Do you wish to live your life in the same manner day in and day out? You need to step out of your excuses that you're giving yourself. For example, you're talking about, I don't have resources. You're talking about, I don't have the capacity. But if you challenge yourself, if you challenge your capacity as an individual, when you challenge yourself every day of your life, you realize that you become a better, more person and step out of your comfort zone. You need to change the way that you take life as. Change yourself to challenge yourself each and every day of your life to get out of your comfort zone. Yes, you can be content with life, but you need to step out of your comfort zone. As the end of this episode, I want to challenge you today and this week that look at your life. Is there something that you're really looking at as a comfort zone? That's something that you think that you're moving, but you're still in the same space. You're still in the same place again and again. Challenge yourself. Step out of your excuses that you have for giving yourself each and every day of your life, and get off your comfort zone. Remember, this is a rocking disaster, and the disaster will always come to a point of being more like an atomic bomb. Challenge yourself each and every day of your life and get out of your comfort zone. Thank you for joining us for this week, and look forward to seeing you next time.